Hi there, I'm Drew Badger, the world's #1 English fluency guide, and it is a pleasure to welcome you to something new on the channel. As I usually do, and in the same way that I recommend you try different things, you try using your English, try using different expressions, even different accents until you find something that really fits and something that really works well for you. I do the same thing on the YouTube channel because we have lots of different learners that come to the channel, and though most of them are at roughly the same level, usually intermediate learners that want to become fluent speakers, they have kind of different reasons for wanting to get fluent. So some of them, maybe it's for business, some of them are just for personal reasons. Maybe you're over 80 years old like some of our learners are, and they just really like learning for fun. So for all of these people, we try to experiment with different things and see what people enjoy. But in this video, I wanted to try something I haven't done on the channel before. I don't really talk about business English, and I'll explain why in a minute. But this thing, because I continue to get requests for things like this, I thought it would be a good idea to bring this up in a video lesson. So we're going to talk about what I call conversational business English. Conversational business English. Now, one of the most important things I want you to know about learning business English, and again, this is the reason I don't really cover specific business English, is because there isn't really, well, there are kind of two problems. The first one is that there may be specific things for your industry. Maybe you work at a call center, maybe you are a doctor or a lawyer or a web designer or whatever else you may happen to be. There is specific technical language that really is kind of too specific for what we do on this channel, and I don't really want to make something just for doctors or just for whatever, so I like to keep things broad enough that lots of people in different industries can use them, especially for specific business purposes. But the other reason that I don't really talk about quote-unquote business English so much is that the truth is that when you're even dealing in a business capacity with people, that you're still dealing with people. Lots of people, if they try to think about selling to other businesses or getting people to do things in a business, rather than trying to sell to an individual, they think they have to sell in a different special way or use some kind of special vocabulary. And this is the business English that lots of people would like you to learn. So people make money selling business English courses when really what you should be using is the conversational business English that I use when I'm just doing regular business. I'm talking with people or I'm sending out emails or anything like that. So I'm communicating with people in a professional way, but I'm still being casual about it. And this is one of the really nice things about English. So Japanese, as an example, this is something where you really have a very specific way of communicating with people, especially in business situations. And there's a whole separate level of the language that you have to understand. And if you don't know that, then people will look at you in a different way. So it's really a much more stark contrast between regular conversational Japanese and then what's professional. But in English, these two are really quite close together. So there are some really more professional sounding things you say, but really in order to persuade people, to get people to take action, whether this is within your own company or this is clients or customers or whomever else you're dealing with, it's really important to use the kind of casual or conversational business English, and this is where you're blending the two of them together. So you're able to use things, and people often ask me about this as well. Is it okay if I use the things like what I teach in Master English Conversation? Is it okay if we use those in business situations as well? And yes, most of the time it is, unless I specifically say in a video lesson that it's not. So I thought I would give you one thing just to test this idea to see if people are interested in learning more conversational business English. And if you are, I can make some more videos about it. So if you like this video, do click that like button. Do put down in the comments below this video about specific situations you'd like to learn. And if it's not too specific, probably the best responses I could get are things that I can help learn a whole bunch of people in different industries with. So this could be customer service and what kinds of things they can use, or when you're dealing with customers or sales or certain things like that, certain ways of motivating people. And these are exactly the same kind of conversations, again, that I teach in Master English Conversation and that I use successfully in my own business. So let's get started. Today, I thought I would kind of take a few things that are for customer service, and you can use these whether you're a waitress or a waiter working at a restaurant, or if you're doing a call service employee job, something like that, where you have to deal with customer service on the phone, or if you're sending emails, that kind of thing. It doesn't really matter, even if you're talking on the phone. But again, these are conversational ways of expressing normal things that you could say in a more professional sounding way. But I guess at the base of things, the most important thing you have to remember about all this is that you're talking to a particular person, number one, but you should kind of speak with that person how they expect to be spoken to. So what this means is that when you're dealing with maybe a casual situation, as I am usually in business, then I'm using casual language. But if you're speaking with someone and they're very professional and you look at their language and they see, wow, this is a really very professional person and they're really trying to use a lot of difficult and very formal language, then you should mirror that kind of thing. But again, in English, most people are giving the kind of casual business English and using those expressions that you would still hear in a regular conversation, but it's just in a business setting. So I thought the first one I would give, again, all three of these, I'll just cover three things that are related for customer service. And the first one is, could you give me a moment, or could you give me a minute? Now, anytime someone asks you anything, whether you're a waiter, if let's say someone asks, may I, can I get some help over here? Like you're a staff person at a clothing store or something like that, or you're on the phone and people are asking you for your time, or they're asking you a question and maybe you want them to wait for a second. You can just say, oh, could you give me a minute? And when this blends, it becomes could you? Could you give me a minute? Could you give me a minute? Or could you give me a moment? One of those things. Could you give me a moment? Could you give me a minute? Now you can also talk about, kind of related to this, is let me check on that. Let me check on that. So as an example, I'm in a restaurant, I'm a server there, and someone says, oh, can I get like a special vegetarian order of this, noodle dish or something like that? I'd say, oh, could you give me a moment? Let me check on that. Let me check on that. Or the same thing if I'm doing sales over a computer or via email or telephone, and someone is asking me a question about something, I'm asking, okay, I'm going to answer them, but first let me check on that. So to check on something, this means to check that thing or to get verification about something. But again, it's a perfectly fine situation or a perfectly fine phrase used for business situations. So let me check on that for you. Can I check on that for you? So again, if I'm the server at a restaurant, oh, let me check on that for you. Like if you say, oh, I've been waiting for my food for 10 minutes. Do you know where it is or how much longer will it take? Oh, could you give me a moment? Let me check on that. And then after you say that, let me check on that, you can reassure people that I will quickly come back with an answer and I will say, I will be right back, or I will get back to you, to be right back, or to get back to you. So to reply, or to respond to someone, this is really just a normal everyday word you can use to reply or to respond, but casually and conversationally, even in conversational business English, you can talk about getting back to someone. So if someone sends you an email or they ask you a question, you can say, oh, could you give me a moment? Let me check on that. I'll get right back to you, or I'll get back to you. So I'll check on something for you and I'll get back to you. So if I go to a shoe store, for example, maybe the clerk is there and I say, oh, do you have this shoe in size 18 or whatever my shoe size is? And they say, oh, could you give me a moment? Let me check on that and I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Or I'll get back to you. So usually when you're replying or you're responding to someone, if you're physically there, you come right back or you will be right back, like the clerk at the shoe store. But if you're in a situation where you're on the phone or email, something like that, you're talking about replying back to that person, then you will get back to them. So let me check with my boss, let me check on that, and I will get right back to you. So this is a really casual, simple way, conversationally, of having a business interaction where you're being formal, you're being polite, but you're still being conversational. And the most important part about conversational business English is that you're using the conversational English that actually native speakers would use. And the more, like as an example, if I'm talking to someone, I know pretty quickly when I'm on the phone with someone in a call center for customer service or something like that, where they are because of the language that they use. So it really doesn't matter about the accent so much. Usually I can tell, oh, okay, this person is in America, or they're in India, or they're in the Philippines, or wherever they are. but it's the language they use that I'm really listening to. So if they say, oh, I will respond quickly or I will reply back to you, then I know they're learning that more formal English and that's what they have to use. But if they want to address me in a conversational way, a way that makes me feel more relaxed, a way that I'm like slipping over my words here, but a way that makes me sound more more comfortable in enjoying that conversation and having a much more pleasant experience, the more native they sound and the more casual and conversational, the more I can enjoy that. So when you're using these phrases and expressions, it's important to mirror the kinds of people you are, and you should maybe check with your company or whatever in your business capacity, whatever that happens to be. But just remember, in general, in English, conversational business English is a great way to communicate. It's exactly how I communicate. I'm still professional, but I'm using native language that most people can understand. And so that way I develop a really good rapport with people, and that helps me develop better relationships with them. Well, if you have enjoyed this video, again, do give it a like. If you have any questions, remember I will be right back, or I will come right back. Let me check on that for you, or let me check on that, and could you give me a moment? Could you give me a moment? Could you give me a minute? And I will look forward to seeing you in the next video. If you have any questions or comments, again, do put them down in the comment section below. Become a subscriber if you haven't already. Share this video and let me know that you do enjoy it so I can make more if you believe you enjoyed this. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video, assuming we make more of these. Have a fantastic day. Bye-bye. Did you know that most English learners have just one major fluency frustration that stops them from enjoying conversations and becoming a successful speaker? For you, it might be your accent, or that you hesitate to think and translate in your head before you speak. Whatever your biggest learning frustration may be, we've prepared specific advice just for your situation to help you finally reach your English learning goals. Click on the link in the upper right of this video to turn your biggest learning weakness into a strength and start getting fluent 2, 3, or even 10 times faster.